After reluctantly agreeing to head up a failing startup in its fourth year of operations, creating infrastructure, writing policies, building a powerhouse team, making the company more than profitable in just 2 short years, I was told by my would-be partners that I didn't have what it takes to be a CEO. But just like Steve Jobs when he was fired from Apple, I didn't let that stop me. Instead, I set out on a mission to discover exactly what it takes to be a great CEO. Join me as I embark on this adventure. I'm tapping into the experiences and life stories of 100 CEOs. Find out how they think, what they eat, when they sleep, everything that goes into the magic of making a CEO. That's right, I'm cracking the CEO code. In this series, we'll discover exactly what it takes to go from good to great. Thank you. One more time. Thank you so much for agreeing to this.
Thank you.
I want to put your book up here, Stedman. Sometimes I'm a mess, so don't come here with your don't come here with your realistic interview expectations, okay? It's gonna be what it is. I just want to start off by saying once again, thank you for agreeing to have this conversation. And we talked over the course of the holiday, and I was supposed to do Apriella's interview, and it got canceled and pushed. She said, why don't you do it at the retreat? Matter of fact, why don't you interview Stedman? So I called her like 10 days in a row. I was so excited. She's like, look, don't call me no more. I told you, I'm gonna ask him. So I've watched you for a long time. You came on my radar as a result of my husband, who was doing work with ex-offenders. And
I'm not sure I understand.
Because I wasn't talking to you straight. I wanted to know, like, you've been called a lot of things. You're considered an educator. I've heard people call you an American educator, an expert on leadership, a businessman. I want to know, those things, based in your words, those are things that you do. Who is that?
Yeah, well, great question. It's been a journey to find out who I really am, and wow, it's been high school basketball player, it's been college graduate, basketball player in college, it's been serving U.S. Army a number of years. It's been played the European League, Pro League a number of years. It's been prison, working in the prison system. It's been working for Bob Brown, who was a mentor of mine. It's been being in a relationship with Oprah throughout the years and being able to navigate through all of that. It's been having my own business and writing books and an author and all of that. So through all of that, being able to really say what I do has been a journey, and I would say that I am a person who tries to empower as many people as possible based on a process of success that I learned throughout that journey. And it's really getting people to understand the true meaning of freedom, which is what I discovered for myself. And that allows me to help as many people as possible at almost every level that I possibly can, whether it's early childhood development, or whether it's middle school or high school, or college, or whether it's corporate, or whether it's social services working with foster care, or whether it's even homeless people on the street. It's being able to understand how to tap into your own potential based on what I teach, which is identity, knowing who you are, and identity leadership, which is based on the philosophy that you can't lead anybody else until you first lead yourself. So that's a reflection of learning all of that and then transferring that to as many people as possible so they understand how to find out what I found in my own life. That's who I am.
So in 1985, you started Athletes Against Drugs.
Yes.
What was the basis for that?
Well, the basis of that was I'm a former athlete, and And I thought drugs was probably one of the #1 issues in our country. And I know they have destroyed so many young people and so many families. And so I thought athletes could be a great role model for that, because they have the attention of a lot of the young people. And if they could use that platform as a way to educate young people in health and staying away from drugs, then then I wanted to be a part of that.
How has that impacted the landscape? How do you think that's impacted the landscape?
Well, we raised over $1 million in scholarships. I had an organization for 27 years, volunteer organization, and we helped a lot of kids in Chicago, public schools. We had all kinds of outings, and we had, Michael Jordan was the first athlete we signed up for that program. And we had a list of athletes, Evander Holyfield, David Robinson, on and on and on, a cadre of athletes who supported young people. And we had all kinds of functions, and we've done a lot of work in Chicago. If you know anything about Chicago, Chicago really needs it. Yeah.
I do. So.
But thank you for asking that. Nobody asks those questions.
Exactly. I've heard all of the Stedman stuff. Okay?
Yeah. So,
I have been following you because anybody who knows me knows I love all things Oprah, and that means I love you too.
yeah,
So the thing is,
I love you too.
And then when I learned you were born
I love
on
your
March
glasses
6th.
too.
Thank you. Thank you for saying so.
Beautiful.
When I learned you were born on March 6th, I knew I could trust you in addition to loving you. So I'm a Pisces also.
March 6th?
No, February 26th.
Okay, good.
I'm the fun Pisces. You know what else? March 6th? D.L. Hughley. My favorite human.
Oh, really?
He's born on March 6th.
Wow.
He's kind of an asshole. You got an asshole streak?
No, I'm not. Wouldn't use that word.
You got something. If we could ask other
A little bit
people.
more serious than that.
So that leads me to another question before I get into what I really want to talk to you about. You have been the epitome of class, and stature, and like consistency. I've been watching you since 1986.
Thank you so much.
And I'm telling you, like what April said earlier about you being a little bit of everybody's guy for us, I see that. And plus you talk, so you But the thing that I want to know is, as calm and reserved as you are, that we see, and we see a lot more of you since the invent of social media. But what I want to know is there anything that ruffles you, that would make you lose your shit?
I'm capable. I'm capable of getting upset, but I'm controlled about it. And I have a different way of expressing that. It doesn't take away the intensity, it doesn't take away the desire or the drive, but it's not as outwardly demonstrative as it used to be, because I've grown and I've learned, and basically I practice trying to manage my emotions for the most part. I get plenty of practice because I get a chance to be in this big world, especially in Oprah's world, and so I have to really work on my temperament and work on how to handle myself so that it doesn't become an issue based on what I really want to say.
Well, I gotta say, as a longtime fan, well done.
Well, I would say it's a beautiful thing to be able to do that.
It is.
When you can actually manage yourself.
That's real control.
Yeah, that's control. That's practice.
That's power.
And to be able to take the high road and again use love as a way to anchor everything.
I heard you in Identity Leadership say that in an interview, you said to outline everything you love, make a list of all the things you love, all the people you love. I did it. And all of those things. Love has the ability to sway things in a way. But at what point in your life did that become a thing for you?
Well, I grew up in the church, number one, and I just grew up. I just went because they told me to go, and I participated in all kinds of programs, usher the Lord, choir, all of that. You know.
Underlining.
But I didn't really understand the power of love. John 13, I think 11, 12, 13, God is love. And so I didn't really understand that because I got caught up a little bit with religion and institutions and wasn't able to really practice that firsthand. So it doesn't make a difference what religion it is. You know, it still comes back to love. And if you get that piece, and I'm able to organize that around my life because I teach identity development. And so identity is based on what you can do, not what you can't do. It's having a positive identity as opposed to a negative identity. And so being able to organize that in my own life and then organize everything I love and micromanage everything I love and create everything I love and imagine everything I can love now and could love. And then be able to execute that by writing that down and making that come alive, to me is what engagement's all about. And engaging the world is all about. And now you couldn't have a better opportunity to do that because we have technology as a way to deliver that love message, which is a reflection of who we are as a person, of who we can be, who we want to be, and then create whatever you want based on the possibilities that we have today.
So earlier we were talking about social media and the prominence of social media in business and all the things associated. You said that you have to learn. So do you have a TikTok account?
No, I don't have a TikTok account, but I probably have the ability to, most important thing is the message. It's not the account. Anybody can have an account. I'm not in the account business. I'm in the communication of the messaging business at a level where people can understand it and they can engage it so that it can transform their life. That's the business I'm in. And if TikTok will do that, then I can be in that business. But I'm in the grassroots development, communications, worldwide distribution business.
Come on now.
Have you always had the same temperament?
I don't know if I had the same temperament. I may have the same spirit, you know. So the spirit, and so I'm connected to your spirit, and that's what, that's what people feel. You know, I'm not trying to hurt you. I'm not trying to take you out. I'm not trying to be mean-spirited. I'm just, being who I am, which I'm fortunate to have that spirit based on my mother and father's upbringing. And so, but I'm also not a chump. So don't take kindness for weakness. Okay?
All right. So during the interview, I watched an interview with you on Sway Universe, and there was a man who was on his 25th birthday, near the end of the interview. He called in and he was so impacted by what you said, despite the fact that the generation gap was vast. He said that he had never read a book in its entirety and yours was going to be the first one. That brought me to tears. You impacted this man's life in a way that I could relate to. Have you ever heard from him again?
No, and you know what? If they get this information, they don't ever have to hear from me. That's the beauty. So, you know who you are, you follow the process, which I lay out in my work, then you can disconnect yourself from everybody because you have a process for thinking, developing, growing, and creating and designing your own future. And that's what's so great about it, is that even if you didn't have a father, you can create your own identity, create your own opportunities.
Yes.
Speaking of the process, step 6 in the 9-step process, palate the season of change. Can you unpack that for me?
Well, we're going through all kinds of changes right now. We're going through the pandemic, we're going through climate changes, we're going through economic changes, we're going through family changes, we're going through educational changes, online changes. And it's not what happens to you, it's how you respond to it. Because things are going to happen. Do you have the internal capacity to deal with change? How strong are you? And then I think the key word today is, are you flexible enough to be able to navigate through the changes? Yeah, can you pivot? Can you flow? Can you go along with it? Can you get to the next level and without self-destructing? How are you able to navigate through all of the changes? Because it's a lot today. I mean, 21st century, man, you got to deal with technology today. You got to deal with revolutionary changes today. You got to deal with economic changes, and you got to deal with all kinds of changes. And are you able to adapt and flow with it without, again, destroying yourself?
How many days in a row did you stand during quarantine?
I spent 2 years.
What did you do?
Work and learn technology.
Okay.
It's a beautiful thing.
Okay.
Because I used it as an opportunity to learn about how to do virtual training, learn how to build the website, basically learn how to set up the business so I could, because I really wasn't relevant. I was just doing speaking and workshops and all of that, traveling all around. I didn't know anything about technology. And it gave me the opportunity to really understand how to create a successful business using technology as a way to take me to the next level. And that is, I said, what in the world is this? This is
Did it make your head
crazy.
spin?
Pardon me?
Did it make your head spin in the beginning?
Well, I felt like I was free in terms of my process to really be able to create equality and rise above most people who don't even understand the value of it, and use it as a communication tool to distribute and download content anywhere in the world, and talk to people through Zooming without actually having to go there and be there. What you do is you save time, and you can create unlimited opportunities based on social and economic, development processes.
That's dope. So, you've authored 12 books, Identity Leader being the latest. Who Are You? Identity, Your Passport to Success, Build Your Own Life, Build Your Own Life Brand, I'm sorry. Diversity, Leaders, Not Labels, and more. Make it happen, and make it happen for teens. We talked about that earlier today. Which was the most difficult?
Well, I wouldn't say they were difficult. I would say, writing a book is difficult.
It's complex.
It's very, very, very difficult because it takes you sometimes 2-3 years. You got to come up with the idea, and then I write books for programming. So I write books to organize content, develop courses, all of that, and I write books for my work. And the Teens Can Make It Happen book is the best book I've ever written. Because we modeled that after a school. We did a lot of research on that book, and it has so much content, so heavy in content. Teachers use it, and I use it in schools now. We have a Teens Can Make It Happen program. So that's the foundation, basically, for everything else I've done. Now, You Can Make It Happen, of course, was the book, which was a New York Times bestseller. Teens Can Make It Happen was a New York Times bestseller. And from that, all my content are really kind of derivatives of that kind of work.
Okay.
So there's a theme that runs through all of that content.
So teens can make it happen was your favorite, which was my next question. Which one were you most surprised by the complexity of?
Well, every one that I've written, this latest book, Identity Leadership, is a great piece of work for the leadership industry.
I agree.
And so that to me is probably the most complex, because I can download that inside of the leadership discipline.
Yeah.
And leadership is one of the biggest issues today, is we have a lack of leadership all over the world. So being able to, again, create a foundation for people to understand how to work on self, to create self-mastery, self-development, self-efficacy, self-empowerment, is what I didn't have before. I didn't know how to put that message out in terms of self-development and working on self. So to actually teach you how to work on self and what that looks like and give you the message so you can relate to that is what I didn't have before.
So I have one last question, and it's serious. Why wouldn't you wear the onesie, Stedman?
Excuse me?
Why couldn't you wear the onesie?
Why couldn't I?
So Christmas, everybody, you guys took a family picture. Everybody had on a onesie. You was like, men don't do that.
A onesie?
Yeah.
I do a twosie or a floozie?
Listen,
I mean,
thank
if
you
I can
so
find a onesie, I probably can't find even a onesie.
You can find a onesie. We can
I'm
have a
6'6".
onesie.
That's hard to
The onesie people will build you a onesie. You are.
I don't know if I want to be in the onesie business. But
I love it. Thank you so much once again.
You are so good. Thank you so much for your questions. Well, I want to congratulate you on cracking the CEO code, and I'm glad to be able to help you do that.